This story came across my desk on Friday, and some of you guys might have already heard about it, but I wanted to be sure and talk about it on the show this week. It's about 18-year-old Dawn Loggins from North Carolina, and she has been accepted into Harvard. While that may not seem like a big deal, Dawn Loggins is homeless, or was homeless. You see, she had been living with her parents, who had been constantly getting evicted from their houses. Her mother was perpetually unemployed, and her stepdad was constantly on the run from law enforcement. So it should come as no surprise when one day, when they were living in Raleigh, she came home and both parents were gone. Just an empty house. No furniture, no note, nothing. So what did she do? Well, she stayed at some friends' houses and decided, instead of using this as an excuse to give up, she wanted to turn her life around and make things happen. Incidentally, if this sounds somewhat familiar, it is because you've heard me talking about this very type of determination on this show. We used to be a nation with people, when they got knocked down, they would jump right back up. You could ask an employee who just got fired or laid off, or an entrepreneur that lost their business, and you'd say, well, what are you going to do now? And they would respond, well, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to move over here because there are a lot of people hiring in that area. They would pull themselves up by their bootstraps and make the situation work. They would turn around a bad situation and use it as an opportunity. Now, when you ask people that question, the first thing people say is they want a government program to take care of them. We're just rapidly becoming a nation of dependent children. And even more wisdom emanated from my lips just a little bit later in that same piece. Now, these two clips are from the April 22nd show, but note how they directly relate to this story. This is why this show, incidentally, is rocketing higher and higher in audience numbers. Some kids are actually more mature than adults nowadays, because a lot of times, if you've ever worked with a child, they're the first ones who'll say they do not want you to do something for them. They want to do it themselves. They'll say, I can do this, Mommy, or whatever. They want to do it. But then somewhere along the way of growing up, we lose the I want to do it, and we become, well, I'll try it, maybe, and if it doesn't work out, I want to bail out, or I'm just not even going to try it at all. People will just say, I can't make it. I have to have government. Some kids are actually more mature than adults nowadays. Truer words could not have been spoken. So by listening to this show, you will be tuned into and ready for the supposed breaking news in the future. You'll be able to say you heard something like that on this show almost 2 months ahead of time. But back to the story. I don't want to take anything away from Dawn and her success. She just graduated. Here's why this story's coming out. Now, Dawn's parents have left her, and she is living with some friends, determined to make this bad situation into an opportunity. One of her quotes in the story is, all the help in the world isn't going to do you any good if you're not willing to work hard. I think people were so willing to help me because they saw that I was reaching for my goals, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me. Now, to make ends meet, Dawn worked as a school janitor. She started long before the other students arrived for the start of the school day. She was sweeping floors, she was cleaning up bathrooms, she was wiping down the classrooms, all this time while attending high school. So what kept her going through all of this? And this is in her words.
A lot of people use bad situations as an excuse, and instead of doing that, I use them as motivation.
Sounds hauntingly familiar, doesn't it? They would turn around a bad situation and use it as an opportunity. This is the American spirit right here, turning a bad situation around into an opportunity. Too many people don't do that anymore. Heck, most people aren't even close to the situation Dawn found herself in, but they still don't want to work. They don't want to do for themselves. Alexandra Pelosi, and yes, this is Nancy Pelosi's daughter, created a video back in March of this year and she went and interviewed some individuals outside the welfare office in New York City. Now, in this clip, she asked them what they were at the welfare office for.
I'm here trying to get some Obama bucks. That's what I'm doing, trying to get some Obama money. I ain't here to get some benefits. You know what I mean? I'm here to get a check. I want a check.
Now, that's a little noisy, but the first individual said he was there to get Obama bucks, some Obama money. And the second individual just said he wants checks. He was there to get a check. This, my friends, is the problem in America today. We absolutely have to stop taking money from one citizen and giving it to another. It is not right. It does the country no good. And more importantly, it doesn't do the person receiving it any good either. It robs them of the privilege of earning their own money, of not being dependent on others for your living, of living a life with meaning, and instead of going through life constantly demanding that someone else take care of you. Let's listen to a little quote, another quote from Dawn, one more time, because it is so instructive. It's the same quote we just played here.
A lot of people use bad situations as an excuse, and instead of doing that, I use them as motivation.
So, if you're in this listening audience, and you're receiving some form of government assistance, just have the guts to drop it, to make a stand, to provide for yourself, and stop making excuses about why you cannot do it. You can. You just have to get out there and make it happen. What happens when you do? What is the feeling you get? Well, here it is in, again, Dawn's own words.
My future is going to be great, and I know it is. And like Harvard is going to make that happen. But also, it's stability. I'm not going to have to worry about where my meals are coming from or where I'm going to sleep at night.
There you go. You are in charge of your life, and you're not dependent on others. If you're going to take care of yourself, take the first step today and make a vow to become an independent person, not living off the money taken from a fellow citizen. It will result in you feeling so much better about yourself and having a much better outlook on life.